Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch him up. Good luck.
Here we go. Fight number 2 of 3 on this preliminary card here on Showtime Championship Boxing Live. Dylan, the real Dill Price, 8-0, 6 knockouts against the journeyman, 30 years of age. From Mexico, Samuel Gutierrez. What are we looking for, Steve?
I'm looking for a new nickname, Real Dill. I don't love it, Brent. I don't know about you, but I don't love it.
It is definitely Real Dill, not Real Deal. Playing along his first name, Dylan. His father is in his corner, and this, in every sense of the word, is a family affair for the Price family.
Yeah, the dad had, David Price had one pro fight, and that was it. And when you look at Dylan Price, he could pass for 5th grade. I mean, he looks like a baby.
It's amazing. He has a younger brother who's 14, who looks like he's about 9. They all have that gene, who is number 1 in his division in the United States right now. So he's another kid to look for in the future. But tonight it's Dylan Price, who made his professional debut in February of 2017. Knocked his opponent out in 1 minute of round number 1. One of 6 knockouts in his 8 wins.
And I'm not claiming that Dylan Price is the biggest puncher I've ever seen, because I've never seen him before. But it does bother me when I hear people talk about the lighter weight classes that they can't punch. There aren't punchers. That's just simply not true. Statistically, there are many 115, 112, 108-pound fighters who are huge punchers. And maybe not quite as many as in the higher weights, but there are plenty of guys who can punch. So just because Dylan is 115 pounds does not mean he can't punch.
A New Jersey prospect, born in Philadelphia, lives in Sicklerville, New Jersey. 20 years of age, Dylan Price. Rounder 1 of 8 in the super flyweight division. Price and Gutierrez.
And Brent, what we're seeing is something very different than we saw in the first fight, where Kareem Martin came to his opponent right away and established. In this fight, it's pretty clear that Dylan is looking to use a little bit of the ring and counterpunch, establish the jab, and try to get Gutierrez to come to him.
Well, people might remember Dylan Price. He got a knockout victory on the undercard of Wilder Brazil just a few weeks back. And now he's on the ropes. Gutierrez aggressive early on here in this first round. You talked about it with Avila, who lost the first fight, as Gutierrez, he's absolutely all over Price. He's got him on the ropes here in round 1. But a guy like Gutierrez, who comes in with a losing record, 16, 23, and 6. Listen, these guys, he's been in a lot of fights. There has to be a place in boxing for guys with losing records.
There sure are, and it starts early. Gutierrez was matched very tough at a young age. He was 21 years old when he fought the Puerto Rican Mick Williams Arroyo, world-class fighter. He fought Luis Yanez at the same age, a U.S. Olympian. So this guy's been tossed to the wolves at a very, very young age.
What do you think of Price in this first round?
A little tentative. He's been effective with the jab, and he's keeping Gutierrez at bay with the jab. I think he rode with that.
On 1 month notice, strong, aggressive fighter, and we saw that in round 1.
Yeah, I think it was Dylan Price's round. Gutierrez had a couple of moments. Right uppercut from a distance, a punch you don't see too often. Samuel Gutierrez is 30 years old. He's 10 years older than Dylan Price.
Or Manzo. Price as an amateur was 112-12. So he is used to winning fights almost all the time. Round 2 of 8 in the super flyweight division. Opens up with some stiff jabs. Tripled that one up there to start the second round. And another jab from Price, and then the right.
Because Dylan Price is only 115 pounds, call it junior bantamweight, call it super flyweight, whatever you want to call it, he has a problem that's inherent for smaller fighters from the East Coast. You have to bring in fighters from Mexico to fight you because there's nobody local who weighs what you weigh. Very few East Coast fighters weigh 115 pounds.
That's counter left, and then a couple of hooks. Then going over the top is Price, more aggressive in round 2.
Yeah, some good body work as well.
Gutierrez, pretty good body work in his own right.
And you see Price switching to southpaw, which he said he does. And now switching back.
Back to orthodox here. Dylan, the real Dill Price. 8-0, 6 knockouts coming in. We talked about the family, and at length. I mean, that's all these guys wanted to talk about yesterday, and credit them. They are very proud of this team and how everybody within the family is involved in that relationship. And you touched on it earlier. It doesn't always work out that way, father-son combos, but this appears to be a match made in heaven with Dylan and his father David in his corner.
Yeah, and I think David Price did something very smart. He brought in Nate Campbell, a former lightweight champion of the world, who's part of the crew. And Nate Campbell was a very smart lightweight fighter, and he adds a lot to the team. Nice short shots. But Gutierrez certainly does not seem discouraged. Now, maybe he can't match Dylan Price's work rate.
Nice combination there. He's got Gutierrez on the ropes. 45 seconds in round 2.
That was a beautifully timed counter right hand by Dylan Price. And Dylan Price, like Gervonta Davis, promoted by Floyd Mayweather. And he's been promoted by Floyd since he's 18 years old. Imagine being 18 years old and having Floyd Mayweather say to you, I want to sign you. That's, pretty heady stuff for a young fighter.
And the relationship with Floyd Sr. goes all the way back to 2010. And Floyd Sr. started inviting him out to Las Vegas, and he spent most of his summers growing up making trips out to Vegas to work with him and that team. The bell in round 2 in the books, and they certainly have designs on him being a superstar to come. Fast, slick, and he can throw any punch. Combined with a lot of heart.
And he's 8-0, Brent, but he hasn't faced yet an opponent with a winning record. And, you'd say, well, are they scared to match him tough? No, they're not scared. He's 20 years old. He's only had 8 fights. And your first 10, maybe sometimes your first 15 fights should be gimmies because you want to learn and you want to get the confidence. You want to see what you can do. And he obviously hasn't developed his man strength yet. We talked about that with him yesterday.
Talked about that with his dad at length. His dad is not just his father and coach, but his pastor, his psychologist, his strength trainer, and most importantly, his best friend. Big right over the top there from Price in this opening minute of round 3.
And Price just switched to southpaw and then very quickly switched back to right-handed. I don't understand why fighters today are doing that so often. I come from an era where there were a few southpaws. They stayed southpaws. Right-handers stayed right-handers. There are very few fighters who can switch successfully. There are some, but not that many. And I think a fighter should master, again, we see him going southpaw now. A fighter should master a certain style before he tries to keep switching somewhat indiscriminately. I don't like it.
Is that coming from his corner, or is he just kind of doing it on the fly?
Well, we always ask a fighter, why do you switch when you do switch? And most of them say it's instinctive. They don't plan it. Sometimes they see something that maybe a straight left can do that a straight right can't do. But for the most part, it's instinctive. And it's a copycat mentality because so many fighters today are doing it.
Minute 20 left in round 3. Price and Gutierrez, the second of 3 on the preliminary card. Showtime Championship Boxing Countdown Live. You see that countdown top right. As these two going after it, trading body punches at the center of the ring. Gutierrez counters back, and then that stiff, snapping jab from Price. And then back with a couple of shots inside with the left from Price.
And this is one of those fights, Brent, where I think
couple of uppercuts, hard lefts.
Is he hurt? Let's see. No, he's still punching back. But this is one of those fights where you throw the record out the window. Because Gutierrez is 16, 23, and 6, but he's serving the exact purpose he was brought here for, to give Dylan Price a decent go.
Late moments of round 3. Price, white trunks trimmed in blue. And Gutierrez, the 30-year-old journeyman, 16, 23, and 6. Left hook to the body and a beauty. 10 seconds in round 3. His corner telling him to get his hands up. Price. Martin of Washington, D.C. And this one enters round number 4 of 8. Super flyweights. Price in the white trunks, trimmed in blue. Gutierrez in the silver trunks, trimmed in white.
And to put this in further perspective, we mentioned that Price is 20 and his opponent Gutierrez is 30. But Gutierrez has fought 234 rounds as a pro. He's fought 45 pro fights against a baby like Price, who's fought 30 rounds and only 8 fights. So this is a common and familiar formula for a young fighter to take somebody like this who's not really a threat to win, but is tough enough to let you work. And maybe, who knows, maybe even go 8 rounds. We'll see.
Coming back there with a flurry of shots. The right to the body and then straight down the middle with that left from Price. Price with a big right and a couple more to the head of Gutierrez, who wants more here.
Among the many lessons young fighters learn, you can't knock everybody out. Sometimes you land clean shots, as Dylan Price is doing. And Gutierrez isn't going anywhere. And there's a lesson to be learned there. It's a humbling thing for a young fighter to realize I can be on my game. I can box perfectly, and I may have to go the distance.
Price certainly trying to get him out of there in round 4, but as you said, Gutierrez not going anywhere. Center of the ring here with halfway through round number 4.
Gutierrez has been stopped 8 times in his 23 losses. So it's not like he's never been stopped.
Two fighters trading body blows and back to the center. Straight left up top there from Price.
I don't see a lot of power from Price, but one thing he does do well and can do, which is land shots and then take a step to the side instead of going straight back where you can get hit. So he's somewhat slick in that way and somewhat mature for a 20-year-old in that sense.
Yeah, pretty good movement in this fight from Price, and that was part of the scouting report on him. When you say man strength, that it hasn't come in yet for him, when does it generally come in for a fighter like Dylan Price?
Well, I think for a fighter his size, it's going to come in earlier than it would for a light heavyweight or a middleweight.
He's trading blows right now, and a big right, and then a couple of left hooks to the body of Gutierrez. A straight right from Price. Good action here in round 4. Final 10 seconds.
Would be more beneficial than getting a stoppage.
Round number 5, second half of the fight begins. Super flyweights. Dylan Price, Samuel Gutierrez. Price is 8-0, 6 knockouts, lives in Sicklerville, New Jersey, born in Philadelphia, 20 years of age. Nicknamed the Real Dill. With his father, David, in his corner.
You with me on that Real Dill thing or no? What do you think?
Well, if you wouldn't have said anything, I would have left it alone. But no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm with you. Yes, okay. I'm with you on it. Having a little trouble hopping on board.
Hey, he's young. He has plenty of time for a new nickname. You know? See Gutierrez still walking to Price.
He's standing straight in front of him, taking these punches. This combination there from Dylan. Gutierrez having fun in there.
He is. This is his kind of fight.
Go home, box out, go home.
And Price unabashedly holding on there for the first time.
Price took a left to the head from Gutierrez, comes back to the body. Couple of shots to the head with the left from Price.
Price has been down once in his pro career.
Box out, don't go home, box out.
It seems to me that the small problem Price is having is when he's not on attack and he's not playing defense. Moments like this where he's not really doing anything, and you see him get hit with a left hook. Navigating these moments where he's Not on offense, not on defense. Really just killing time. And killing time is a skill for a fighter. When you don't want to fight, you want to control the tempo. Fight when you want to fight.
And a kid at this stage, you want him to grow in different aspects in every fight that he takes. Heard you recently on a podcast, the Showtime boxing podcast. And one thing I thought was interesting is you're not a huge fan of the heavyweights. You're a guy that really appreciates this style right here.
You know, I think it was because when I was a kid, they used to show fights from Mexico City on UHF television, delayed tape. And I saw all these Mexican fighters, and they were very, very rarely would they show a heavyweight. And I came to love Pepino Cuevas and some of the great Carlos Zarate and some of the great Mexicans. And, you know, to me, you get a good heavyweight fight 1 out of every 10, maybe.
Yeah.
When you get that one good one, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, Joshua Klitschko and Wilder Ortiz and fights like that. But you also get a lot of holding and sloppiness. And
Gamboa and Roman Martinez, as well as Ladarius Miller and Jezreel Corrales. The main card over on Showtime. You see the countdown to that main card in the top right portion of your screen. Round number 6 of 8. Super flyweight division. Price. Young upcoming prospect, 8-0, 6 knockouts coming in against Samuel Gutierrez.
Gutierrez is saying, wasn't this a fight a couple of rounds ago? I think maybe Price in his head realizes now, stick the jab, win the round, mix in occasional power shots, but this guy's probably not going to go. And I think he maybe sees that and has altered his approach because of it.
And as you said last round, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. In fact, it might be the best thing for Price to get a full 8 rounds in here.
Exactly. I mean, a 20-year-old kid who's been 8 rounds, that's a good start to your career.
This is his first 8-round fight, as you alluded to, in his professional career. His 9th professional fight, turned pro in February of 2017. He last fought on May 18th.
And he said his dad is his worst critic. His dad's always telling him he's doing stuff wrong. Even he could score a knockout in 7 seconds, and his dad's going to criticize him. And I guess that's a good thing.
I guess so.
Keep him up. Keep him up.
Anything you need to see in the final 120 of this round and the final 2 rounds from Price that you haven't seen already?
You know, he's sharp with his punches. I don't see a big knockout puncher. Maybe that'll come with time, maybe not. But he's dominating the fight whether inside or outside. And he's just in with a tough guy. So I'm not going to hold it against him that he's not getting a stoppage.
Couple of hooks to the body from the real deal. Gutierrez is able to counter back.
By the way, I'm looking at my notes here. Gutierrez once fought as high as 129.5 pounds.
Amazing.
So that gives you an idea of how big he's been, paring down tonight to 115, 116 for him.
And the guys in his corner told you yesterday his best weight is 115. Final 25 seconds, round 6.
You see nice movement after he punches. Nice movement by Price. You are not going to get counterpunched if you do that.
Is he squaring up too much?
A little bit. Yeah, I see it.
Final seconds, round 6. Absolutely. The bell in round 7. Super flyweight, Price, Gutierrez. With Malik Hawkins and Jonathan Steele to come. In the super lightweight division, that one an 8-rounder as well. Work on the inside by Price.
It might be easy for me to say, but I don't think Gutierrez has been seriously hurt this whole fight yet. At least not that we've seen.
No. Took a couple of heavy shots, in particular in round 2, where he was maybe staggered momentarily, but other than that, he keeps coming back for more.
All right, I'm going to tell you one of my pet peeves now, and I'm looking at Dylan Price and I see it. He's boxing with his mouth open. Learning to breathe is part of being a boxer, part of being any professional athlete. You can't box with your mouth open. You have to breathe through your nose. And if you box with your mouth open and you get hit on the chin, you're very likely going to get a busted jaw. And nobody wants to see that. So you have to work on that in the gym.
Yep. Gutierrez calling for more again. Price with a hard shot to the body. Chopping right.
At this point in the fight, I'd say Price, if he were to score a knockdown or a stoppage, more likely to do that to the body at this point than the head.
Watch your head. No base.
Oh, you got to love Gutierrez. He's not going to win a round, but he's going to win my heart because he's a tough guy.
Price with a flurry back at him. Nice combination from the real Dill. And a big right to the head from Price. Another one. Good job going up and down in this round from Dylan Price. Couple of left hooks to the body from Price. Big shots. Big shots with the left hook and over the top with the right from Price. He's got Gutierrez on the ropes again, and David Braslow in to break him up.
And during that whole exchange there, you didn't see Gutierrez even try to hold. He's going to fight.
No. The reason this has been an extremely entertaining second fight on this preliminary card.
Very much so. The body work has been one of the more impressive things about him tonight.
It's your free trial at Showtime.com. Final round in this entertaining super flyweight bout. Price and Gutierrez. 3 minutes to go. A fight dominated by Price, but Gutierrez has certainly been game and then some.
And as we progress, Brent, from fight to fight, I can't wait for the moment when Gervonta Davis, of course I'm looking forward to him fighting,
sure.
But I can't wait for his ring walk because that's such an exciting time for a young fighter fighting in his hometown. It's going to be great. And I think you'll get a good impression of how he feels about this whole fight and this whole atmosphere and scene by the expression we see on him when he makes his ring walk. Is he nervous? Is he expecting to do too much? Or is he just soaking it all in and ready to perform at his best? It'll be interesting to see.
It's going to be electric inside here. And boy, we've talked about maybe an underrated history of boxing, but around the turn of the century, 1902, Joe Gans, one of the greatest lightweights of all time, and then he had a 42-rounder in 1906. You got Hasim Rahman,
right?
Baltimore
born
native,
in Baltimore,
2001,
sure.
Of course, got the heavyweight title for a short time. He beat Lennox Lewis and Sugar Ray Leonard. About 6 or 7 fights in this building when it was called the Civic Center.
That's right. I was in this building in 1980, I don't know, 2, 3, whatever it was, when Ray Leonard had this big party, this big press conference with Marvin Hagler standing there as a prop and said, "Sorry, Marvin, I'm retiring." Of course, Ray retired a lot and came back a lot,
right.
But that was this building too, because as you mentioned, it was the Baltimore Civic Center before it was Royal Farms Arena.
And Vincent Petway, who was recognized at the weigh-ins yesterday, won the super welterweight title back in 1994.
Yes, and he could punch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good to see him. Got Hall of Famers Kid Williams, George K.O. Chaney, Harry Jeffra from Baltimore. And in the 33 years of boxing on Showtime, this is the first Baltimore-based broadcast. So
hard to believe.
Cool stuff tonight.
Yeah, excellent.
Final minute, final round. Super flyweight Dylan Price has dominated this fight against Gutierrez. Trying to close the show in nice fashion, and this is Dylan Price's first ever 8-round fight.
All part of the education.
Straight right, and a right hook to the head of Gutierrez, who fights right back.
He hasn't landed one yet, maybe the body shot. But he's firing.
He's firing.
And this last round, I think, sums up the fight in its entirety, which is domination by Price, and Gutierrez hanging in there.
Doing exactly what he was hired to do against a 20-year-old prospect in Dylan Price. Final 5 seconds, and a hats off to both of these men in the ring tonight, putting on a nice 8-round show on this preliminary card of Showtime Championship Boxing.
Very much so. The body work has been one of the more impressive things about him tonight.
It's your free trial at Showtime.com. Final round in this entertaining super flyweight bout. Price and Gutierrez. 3 minutes to go. A fight dominated by Price, but Gutierrez has certainly been game and then some.
And as we progress, Brent, from fight to fight, I can't wait for the moment when Gervonta Davis, of course I'm looking forward to him fighting,
sure,
but I can't wait for his ring walk, because that's such an exciting time for a young fighter fighting in his hometown. It's going to be great. And I think you'll get a good impression of how he feels about this whole fight and this whole atmosphere and scene by the expression we see on him when he makes his ring walk. Is he nervous? Is he expecting to do too much, or is he just soaking it all in and ready to perform at his best? It'll be interesting to see.
It's going to be electric inside here, and boy, we've talked about maybe an underrated history of boxing, but around the turn of the century, 1902. Joe Gans, one of the greatest lightweights of all time, and then he had a 42-rounder in 1906. You got Hasim Rahman,
right?
Baltimore
Born
native,
in Baltimore,
2001, of course, got the heavyweight title for a short time. He beat Lennox Lewis and Sugar Ray Leonard. About 6 or 7 fights in this building when it was called the Civic Center.
That's right. I was in this building in 1980, I don't know, 2, 3, whatever it was, when Ray Leonard had this big party, this big press conference with Marvin Hagler standing there as a prop and said, "Sorry, Marvin, I'm retiring." Of course, Ray retired a lot and came back a lot,
right,
but that was this building too, because as you mentioned, it was the Baltimore Civic Center before it was Royal Farms Arena.
And Vincent Petway, who was recognized at the weigh-ins yesterday, won the super welterweight title back in 1994.
Yes, and he could punch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good to see him. Got Hall of Famers Kid Williams, George K.O. Cheney, Harry Jeffra from Baltimore. And in the 33 years of boxing on Showtime, this is the first Baltimore-based broadcast. So,
all right, hard to believe.
Cool stuff tonight.
Yeah, excellent.
Final minute, final round. Super flyweight Dylan Price has dominated this fight against Gutierrez. Trying to close the show in nice fashion, and this is first ever, Dylan Price's first ever 8-round fight.
All part of the education.
Straight right and a right hook to the head of Gutierrez, who fights right back.
He hasn't landed one yet, maybe the body shot, but he's firing.
He's firing.
And this last round, I think, sums up the fight in its entirety, which is domination by Price, and Gutierrez hanging in there.
Doing exactly what he was hired to do against a 20-year-old prospect in Dylan Price. Final 5 seconds, and a hats off to both of these men in the ring tonight, putting on a nice 8-round show on this preliminary card.